Let me just start by saying that Season 4 is a good time. I've been having a lot of fun with it. My Spartan's got some new drip. Check out my BR as well, right? This is the new BR model. There's like a new AR and sidekick as well. The new models on weapons is a really cool feature that they're exploring. I'm glad they're doing that. Of course, I got the optic skin. The new map Forest is pretty sick. Now that I've played it, I don't know if it's competitive viable. It's a big map, but there's a lot of sneaky skill jumps on it, so I definitely want to talk about it more. I like the playlist as well. Rank Slayer. I'm having fun playing Rank Slayer. There's a Bandit start plus AR and Radar, which is, I know, kind of some people are not happy about it. Apparently, it takes after Halo 3 Rank Slayer. There used to be an AR, BR, Radar combo in Halo 3. I could do without it, but I'm still having fun with the Bandit. I think the Bandit is very skillful, and it's a good time. Maybe add a scope to it, though, still, I think. And then Infection. This has to be the most fun version of Infection I've played yet. So there's a lot of good with the update right now. And I don't want to neglect or not appreciate the good in this update, because there is some good here. But if you guys follow my content, you know that I'm a big fan of the movement and just mechanics in Halo Infinite. If something changes, I'm going to notice it in about 5 seconds. And something has changed. Is the slide broken? Just to answer that question, no. I would say it's not broken, not to your average player, but it's clunky. Something's nerfed with the overall movement and just the feel of the game. The moment I got on it, something feels like heavier and clunkier than it did back in Season 3. And I'm going to try my best to describe everything I've found both playing and online. My hope here is to just bring some awareness to this stuff so that 343 knows what's changed and can make the necessary fixes if they plan or can fix it. I know that with every season, you know, there's some issues bound to happen. And this, I guess, is your opportunity in the comments. If you're having specific issues with Season 4, let me know. Let's get some discussion going and get some awareness out there about this stuff. Not everything that's changed is necessarily a bad thing or like a broken feature also. For example, let's start by talking about the slide cancel. In Halo, your aim is what cancels your slide. So if I slide forward and then I look away from the direction of the slide with my look stick, that'll cancel the slide in place. You got to move that look a certain degree before the slide cancel happens. But the idea behind it is this just lets you more precisely navigate the map. Instead of sliding out uncontrolled, you can stop yourself by looking away from the slide. This is not broken, this feature. It's working, as you can see. It's changed, though. If you're playing on a server, slide canceling feels very quick, like faster than it did in Season 3. It feels like I have to move my aimer less before the cancel takes place. Like, let's say like 30, 35 degrees now, and the cancel just happens. If you're playing off server or in the academy, you can see my ping is 0 ms. Slide canceling is either very slow or non-existent. Like, you can see I'm full 180ing and still sliding out backwards. Like, I could slide down this ramp and 360 and still like maintain the momentum. My aim is not stalling my slide anymore, which is super weird and kind of interesting because now we have like 2 different versions of the slide. Like, I don't know if this is tied to specifically training mode versus other game modes, or if this has something to do with whether you're on or off a server. And I'm seeing mixed opinions about this on Twitter. Some people like this version of the slide, some people don't. Note that if you can slide cancel the way it's been since launch, you got more control over the slide because you can stop the slide and pivot on a dime and just more efficiently kind of navigate the map in your movement. You can also slide cancel back and forth, though, and be a super difficult target to kill, which I guess is kind of annoying at times. You could also say it's a skill gap. If you don't have slide canceling, you got to be a lot more purposeful about how you choose to slide, because you're going to slide out farther and in kind of an uncontrolled fashion, right? Like, you might overexpose yourself, you might bump into a wall. So you kind of have less efficiency here with your movement, but at the same time, you can slide in 180 and kind of shoot as you're like 180ing, right? You also get punished harder for incorrectly sliding. So I guess you can say there's like a skill gap there too. So there's positives and negatives depending on how you look at it. What do you guys think? I personally like the Season 3 version of sliding. I think it was fine the way it was. Didn't really need to change, but these are some interesting alternatives. So I'm curious to hear what you guys think about it in the comments. Another difference with the slide has to do with curb sliding on upward ramps or slope surfaces. Normally, if you curb slide into a ramp like this looks like a staircase, but it operates just like a flat ramp, then you just take your momentum from the curb slide and you go straight over that ramp. And that's what's happening right here. I'm doing a curb slide off the edge, off this wall. I'm sprinting off time and crouch right before I hit the stairs, and I fly up. You can also just curb slide off this little platform, and it's sort of slowing my momentum, but I'm going kind of up along it. None of this is possible if I'm playing online. If I try to do this jump online, I go nowhere. My slide hitches immediately. And this might not be the most practical example, but there are actually a lot of areas in this game where you fast slide over raised and uneven terrain. If that slide goes over even like the tiniest bump now, sometimes your slide will just completely hitch if you're playing online. So it's just super inconvenient and annoying, right? Like, is it broken? No, maybe it was even intentional that they changed it. It feels like an unnecessary nerf. If so, I like this aspect of Infinite's movement physics personally. Like, there's certain jumps and rotations and jump maps that are now completely impossible because the slide just gets hitched when it goes uphill. And these are just changes that I noticed are different whether you're playing training mode or other modes in the game. There are other weird changes to like the movement and sandbox that I think are game wide and I think might be contributing to this like clunky feeling that I'm getting when I'm playing. Mark Doesn't Edit on Twitter did a great job of explaining these differences. He's using this jump map, Project Air Parkour, to demonstrate. It's a really cool jump map and a great showcase of what's possible in Infinite, or I guess what was possible back in Season 3. A lot of the jumps don't work anymore due to these differences that he's noticed. He's first saying that ghost jumps are no longer possible. It feels like the Spartan's collider is larger or offset. So the Spartan itself hasn't changed size from Season 3 to Season 4, but the feel of like how you collide with the sandbox and the geometry around you feels off and feels different. Ghost jumping is an advanced technique dating way back to Halo 3, where you're basically jumping off a tiny little, basically invisible platform, and if you land on it perfectly and jump immediately, you can like jump again. He's using these wedge kind of jumps as an example. It's a really cool feature of this map. If you line it up perfectly, you get these quick little jumps, very challenging to do. This would also mean a skill jump like the key door skill jump, which is a ghost jump, that would no longer be possible as well. And while ghost jumping is like a hyper-specific feature, not many people are actually doing this, this collision offset kind of affects all map movement in like subtle, hard-to-explain ways. Like he's saying the collision offset changes jumps that were previously not slowing him down now are, and curb sliding feels different as well, and that I'll showcase in a little bit. He's also saying the drop sliding feels nerfed in comparison to the original nerf that happened a year ago, so it's like nerfed again. I haven't really noticed this personally. I think he has a specific example to showcase it, but it feels like the gravity maybe is different. I don't know. Like something is like very subtly different that's like kind of hard to figure out. And then he's showing how uphill slides don't work, and he's got an example where he's kind of bumping, I guess, as if his head's bumping the roof of something. He's trying to slide underneath to kind of talk about this collision offset. It's either that or there's a lip maybe on the floor that he's going over, and you can't slide over those little bumps and upward slopes anymore without your slide, momentum being killed, like we talked about. And then curb sliding is affected by this too. All curb slides have become more challenging and less consistent to land now. Like the process for the most part is still the same. You sprint off, time crouch to slide. The window that you have to time crouch to actually get the boost seems smaller and less forgiving. And your approach to the ledge has to kind of change now depending on how tall the ledge is as well. Like this ledge right here is a tall ledge. And to curb slide here, I would use like an edge lineup by standing on the edge and sprinting off and timing slide. I actually managed to do it that time. Usually though, this process just doesn't work anymore. I'll jump, land on the edge of the ledge, and sprint off, try to time crouch to slide in the way that I would back in Season 3. It just doesn't work. It feels like nearly impossible to hit consistent curb slides off a ledge this tall. It took me some time to figure out a workaround, but you can still curb slide off this. You have to imagine the ledge is like here now instead of on the physical ledge, and jump and land basically like on an invisible platform in front of the ledge itself and sprint off, time crouch and slide, and you can still hit the slide here consistently, meaning the window to do this is much tighter, and you have to position your jump like more strictly, I guess, but it is still possible. It's weird, right? And like this is how I know that the collision, like the collider or whatever, has been offset, because I'm not jumping on the physical ledge to edge line up anymore. I'm jumping on some sort of invisible tiny platform in front of the edge itself to create the curb slide. But as you can see, with a little bit of time, you can still figure out a way to get it down. Basically, if you're a competitor or you just enjoy mechanics like this, you're going to have to kind of relearn your approach to map movement a bit. Like I recommend going back on maps and relearning curb sliding on some of these tall ledges especially. Some rotations are just not going to be possible anymore. You won't really see them often because they're just so, precise to hit now. And I don't know if that's ever going to change, right? This is some pretty niche, nerdy stuff. Like I'm sure some of you guys don't even like curb sliding, and you might just be celebrating at the fact that it's getting more challenging. At the same time, you could say that this is good for the skill gap maybe too, because you're going to get punished harder, going for this stuff if you're not super precise with how you hit it. At the same time, that might lock more people out of mastering it, though, because it's more challenging. I don't know. There's a lot of different things you could weigh here. Either way, we all like Halo for different reasons. You guys know I'm a fan of skillful mechanics in Halo. I'd like to see stuff like this stick around as long as possible, so I thought I'd bring some awareness to it and help you guys out if you still want to use this stuff, and hopefully, we see some things reverted if possible. I'm not going to keep my hopes up too high, but it would be nice to just... I think the Season 3 version of this game was perfectly fine. Let's just keep building on that and adding more awesome content, But that's what I've noticed as far as movement and why the game seems to feel like heavier and clunkier right now. There's also several other delays, and I'm seeing Reddit threads about this stuff too, like switching weapons out of melee. Like if you see my overlay, if I hit melee Y and I'm like quick with the Y button after the melee, the weapon switch won't happen. I have to wait longer after the melee before I can YY. Like there's a slight delay between the two. People are saying there's a delay in like picking up weapons and nading. Like it's more delay than usual. I've noticed that throwing nades, like multiple nades, feels delayed. Like sometimes the second nade doesn't come out, almost like the equivalent of weapon jamming, but in nades, right? So like little tiny delays in like timing to do with like sprinting and switching weapons and picking up weapons that just make the game experience feel like a little slower, and you have to kind of change your habits that you have to kind of offset it. So it's like these are all, it's not broken, it's just like little annoyance and inconveniences for people who spend a lot of time grinding the game. Maybe too much time. Maybe it's time I touch grass. I don't know. Game design is obviously very complicated, and I can't even begin to understand it. It just feels like Halo Infinite is a Jenga tower right now. Like in order to build it taller, they got to pull pieces out of the foundation, and then if they don't carefully place the piece, the whole thing's gonna topple over, right? Like, love it or hate it, I'm still a Halo fan, and I still have more to say about Season 4, and I'll do so in the near future. If you guys like this discussion and you want more content like this, make sure to sub to the channel. Let me know in the comments what you think of Season 4, what you love, what you hate about it. If you're looking to learn and improve at Halo, follow my Twitch live stream. I'm going live around the same time this video drops. We're doing a live coaching session with the G1 coach analyst, Eli the Sensei. He's going to look at my gameplay. I'm trying to improve at Halo Infinite, so I'm going to get some outside help to get better, and you guys can learn and improve with me. So join me for the stream. Thank you to my Patreon subscribers once again for the continued support on this channel. It goes a long way in helping me make Halo content. If you guys want more Halo content from me, tips and tricks, breakdowns, etc., right here. This is the way.